Chapter 36, Confessions. How is everything going? I studied Breeze's message for a few Ostroskins. Not too bad, I replied. I was in my room with Ravage. It had only been 2 warns, but he was doing much better. Of course, I hadn't taken him out into the hallways again. I was pretty sure that Ochre suspected he'd been the one to attack Breeze, and I could absolutely not risk him even threatening anyone else. I was mostly caught up with my homework, and Searchlight was busy working on a big project for one of his classes, so I had the rest of the Orn to myself. It was kind of nice. I'm still trying to talk my creators into letting me go back to your school. It's exhausting. I think they'll cave eventually, though. I wished I could tell if that was the truth, or if she was just trying to convince me. How's Ravage? She asked. Much better. And you? Just fine. My creators took me to a specialist to make sure my faceplate doesn't scar. They were able to do a pretty good job repairing it, though you can still kind of see a little bit. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a scar too much. I would mind. I was ready to put the whole fiasco behind me, and I didn't want reminders of it. How are Ratchet and Searchlight doing? They're okay. We all miss you, though. She probably wanted to know if Searchlight in particular was missing her. I wasn't sure what to tell her. He did complain about her being gone all the time, and was still pretty upset about it. But I didn't want to give her false hope. Maybe he did like her, but he hadn't realized it yet, and I didn't think his chances of realizing it anytime soon were very good. I hope I can come back soon. I'm going to get so behind in my classes. How long, do you think? My femme creator's almost on my side, maybe. It will probably still take a while. But I'm not giving up. Searchlight's stubbornness was like an infectious virus. I honestly didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Of course, I have to admit it's nice to be in Praxis again. I really miss the place when I'm gone. It's worth it, though. You mechs are the best friends I've ever had. Ravage hopped off of my shoulders, onto the desk and yawned. And I mean that. Not just Searchlight, you and Ratchet and Ravage too. Thanks. At least we can stay in touch this way. Yes, there was that, though it wasn't the same. Life was surprisingly different with Breeze gone. I had expected everything to go back to normal after a few Orns, but it didn't. She had brought a kind of stability to the group. Without it, we were still friends, but we didn't get along as well, especially Searchlight and Ratchet. Without Breeze to talk to, Searchlight got really bored. And when he got bored, he got into trouble, even more than usual. It was a good thing we could practice Circuit Sue after school. To Karen's past, things did settle a little, but Searchlight held on to a stubborn hope that Breeze would come back. I held on to that hope too, not only because I missed her but because I hadn't realized how much she contributed toward keeping my maniac of a best friend entertained and out of trouble. Searchlight sat down on his berth and checked his datapad to see if Breeze had messaged him. She ought to be back here by now. She said a couple of Karens, and it's been almost a whole cortex. She's not coming back, Ratchet said. I told you. She said they signed her up for a different school. You can stop complaining about it. And aren't you supposed to be in detention? Searchlight sighed. Do you ever say anything positive, Docbot? Don't call me that. You are going to be the most unpleasant medic in the history of ever. You'll get a patient in and he'll be like Ratchet. I tripped and broke my hand and you'll be like, you fool, you've doomed yourself. You're going to permanently offline now. There's nothing I can do to save you. Searchlight rolled off the berth and landed in a crouch on the floor, just as a datapad flew over his helm. Whoa, did you see that? I didn't even look and I dodged. I'm a total ninja. A stylus hit him in the faceplate. He ducked his helm, grinning. Ow. My optic. What? Ratchet spun to look at him. Searchlight laughed. Got you. Searchlight. You should have seen the look on your faceplate. I got up and walked toward the door. I should go spend some time with Ravage. No. Ratchet said. Don't leave me here with this lunatic. I shrugged and left the room. I heard their conversation as I walked away. That was also really negative. Just shut up. I actually don't think I've ever heard you say a single positive thing in all the time I've known you. Funny, Ratchet snapped. That's about as often as I've heard you come up with a good idea. Searchlight grinned and got back to his pids. I walked out of range. I'd brought Ravage to their room a couple of times. He was doing better out in the hallways, now, but he was still kind of jumpy, so most of the time I left him in my room. I really ought to go visit Laserbeak sometime, but I didn't have any more credit. She'd be angry at me next time I showed up. Oh well. Nothing I could do about it. The next couple of Orns, Breeze didn't write any of us at all. Searchlight had started to think maybe she'd found new friends and forgotten us, but I doubted that. I was a little worried, though. At least, I was worried until a few Orns later, when Searchlight and I came back from practicing with Master Yucatron to find that Breeze had returned. I knew before we got to Searchlight's room, of course. This must be why she had stopped talking to us. She probably wanted to surprise us. She and Ratchet were sitting in pleasant silence him doing homework, and her doodling on a datapad. I could tell how happy Ratchet was that she was back, because he was borderline cheerful. She stopped drawing and subspaced the datapad when she's heard Searchlight's voice. No way we could pull that off without getting in trouble, but I'm still not giving up on the idea. We walked through the door. Breeze stood. Breeze. She smiled. I'm back. He rushed her and almost knocked her over with a hug. You're back. Yes. Oh, Primus, we missed you. Her vents heated up. He's hugging me. What is going on? Searchlight released her and backed away a step, oblivious as usual to her reaction. Why didn't you tell us you were coming? I thought you'd forgotten about us. Well, she shrugged. I thought it would be a nice surprise. He hugged me. I think I need to sit down now. You would not believe how much we need you. Ratchet and I have been driving each other crazy without you to keep the peace. Oh, okay. Thanks, I guess. I mean, mostly, I've been driving him up the wall, so I'm sure he's pretty relieved. But I'm still really glad you're back too. Our friends group just isn't quite complete without you. Friends group, yep. Thanks. She looked down. I worked so hard to convince my creators to let me come back, and now they're mad at me and I hoped maybe, I should just give up. For one moment I thought. So, Searchlight said, then frowned. She doesn't look happy. What? She shrugged and forced a smile. I'm just glad to be back. I need to go and pack stuff. I'll see you in class. She ducked past Searchlight and left the room. He frowned after her. Wait, what? Did that seem weird to anyone else? Hey, wait, he followed her, but by the time he reached the doorway, she was already turning the corner. Searchlight looked at me. Did she just? Is she okay? Ratchet looked up from his homework. What's her problem? As soon as Searchlight and Soundwave show up, she leaves. What was that? Searchlight asked out loud this time. They were both looking to me now. I shrugged, feeling uncomfortable. Come on, Searchlight said. She looked upset about something. They knew I must know why she left. I shrugged again. It wasn't my business, and she didn't want me to tell him. But if I didn't say something, Searchlight would probably go and talk to her and make her feel even worse. She's tired, I said. And still fighting with her crate eaters. Searchlight looked down. I hope that's not my fault for insisting she convinced them to let her come back. Even so, that doesn't explain why she left so fast. You'd think she'd want to hang out since we haven't seen each other for so long. I looked at him. Ratchet snorted. Fems. Who knows why they do what they do? They get offended by the most insignificant things. Searchlight glared at him. Well, you're one to talk. Ratchet. Ratchet rolled his optics. Whatever. Besides, what would she have been offended about? Searchlight thought back to what he'd said. I just told her how happy we are to have her back. I don't see what's upsetting about that. Ratchet also thought back to the conversation, what Searchlight had said, how Breeze had reacted. Wait, oh. What? Searchlight asked. Ratchet made a face. Forget about it. What? Searchlight demanded. I'm staying completely out of this, Ratchet said. Primus, Fems. What are you talking about? Searchlight demanded. What did I say? Why won't you just tell me so I can apologize to her next time I? She likes you, you imbecile? Ratchet shouted. I wondered if Breeze had been close enough to hear that. Probably not. She had plenty of time to get back to her room and out of hearing range by now. Wah, Searchlight said. Ratchet snorted and turned back to his homework. Like I said, I'm staying out of this. But, Searchlight looked at me. But, she can't like me. You would have known, right? You would have told me. I just looked at him. She likes me. I shrugged. Yep. He shook his helm slowly, having a hard time integrating this. But, are you sure? How come you never said anything? I shrugged again. And here I thought I could trust you. She made me promise, I said. He sat down on his berth, trying to think back to all the conversations he'd had with her in the past, looking for hints, but he still couldn't see it. He was kind of in shock. I should go talk to her. No, I can't. This changes things. I wonder how long, Primus. Okay, he said. What do I do now? Poor Breeze. Things were probably going to get kind of tricky from here on out. What do I do now? She doesn't know I know, so I could just keep acting normal, I guess. If that's even possible. This is so crazy. I don't want her to know that I know. Don't say anything. That goes for both of you. It will mess everything up. I don't know how long that will last considering this is Ratchet I'm talking to. As I said before, I intend to stay out of it, Ratchet said. Searchlight looked at me. Promise. Bye Ine, I said, standing and heading for the door. I needed to go get Ravage. Maybe I'd just stay in my room the rest of the Orn. I was tempted to follow Ratchet's example and vow to stay out of this completely. But it was going to mess things up. This would be worse than when she was gone, worse for everyone. I hesitated. Could I fix it somehow? Searchlight. I stopped in the doorway and turned around, trying to figure out exactly what I needed to say. He looked up at me. Yeah. Think A about this. I said. Why you spent the last cortex miserable because she wasn't here? He looked down. So whatever you do, don't push her I. Then I turned again and left. I had been worried that Searchlight would try to hide his feelings from Breeze and that it would make everything painfully awkward between them. But I should have known better. Searchlight didn't possess a whole lot of common sense, but he also didn't possess a lot of patience or self-consciousness or a sense of self-preservation, so by the next Orn he was ready to profess his love for Breeze in front of the whole world. This was going to turn into a completely different kind of mess than I'd imagined before. I slammed Searchlight to the ground again. Ow. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I know, I said as I helped him get back up. He had been watching the other students, one in particular. We were in third drawer and Breeze had showed up a little late, so he hadn't had an opportunity to talk to her before class. A few Ostroskins later, I knocked him to the ground again. He got up and glanced over at Breeze, who happened to look at him at the same time. Their gazes locked for a moment. Then she raised an optic ridge and turned back to face the other student she was practicing with. I knocked Searchlight's pids out from under him and he fell again. Hey. He got up and charged at me, but I dodged out of the way. Master Yakatron shot us a disapproving look. Circuitsu, not wrestling, mechlings. We fell back into our fighting pattern. We were still improving. Master Yakatron had started bringing students from his more advanced classes to train with us so that we could practice with mecha who had different fighting styles. About half of the ones he brought could beat Searchlight. I had to pretend not to be as good as I was when they were there because I didn't want anyone to realize that I already knew things Yakatron hadn't taught me yet. Searchlight was getting really good, not as good as me, but he could usually hold his own pretty well. Except for this Orn. This Orn, he was terrible. By the end of class, he still hadn't managed to focus. Master Yakatron held us back as he dismissed the others. Breeze and Ratchet headed for the door with everyone else. Searchlight desperately gestured for them to wait, but they didn't notice. Searchlight, Yakatron said. Searchlight turned back to face our teacher. Yes, Master Yakatron. You aren't doing very well this Orn. I apologize, Searchlight said. They're quite proficient, though. If they want, I can put them in some competitions. That might help motivate them to improve more quickly. I should talk to them about it during our private lesson. Please try to muster a little more focus in the future, Master Yakatron said. Yes, Master Yakatron. Thank you. Can we go? Yakatron raised an optic ridge. I suppose so. Thank you, Master Yakatron, Searchlight said and turned to run out the door. Yakatron looked at me. I shrugged and followed him at a slower pace. He caught up to Breeze about halfway to her next class. Hey. He said. Wait up. Breeze hesitated, then slowed while the other students around her passed by. Searchlight skidded to a stop next to her. I stayed back, listening but not really wanting to participate. I honestly wasn't sure what was going to happen, but it was bound to be entertaining. Breeze, Searchlight said. I need to talk to you. Breeze said. Okay. He suddenly wasn't quite sure what to say. Oh, well, first off, I'm really sorry about last Orn. She raised an optic ridge. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Oh, Bree said. No, it's okay. I'm sorry for storming out. I was just tired, I guess. It's not okay. It was totally my fault. Searchlight, it is okay. I don't want you to feel bad. I didn't mean to make you feel like you're part of the group. She stared at him. No, that didn't come out right. Searchlight put a hand to his faceplate. Breeze hesitated. Are you okay? No, I mean, yes. I'm fine. I'm great. Breeze. He is acting really weird. She's looking at me like she thinks I've gone crazy or something. I guess he just feels bad for offending me. I didn't realize he noticed that. You don't need to apologize, she said. I already forgave you. I know you didn't mean. No, I need to try that again. Give me a moment. We're going to be late for class. He held up a hand. Breeze, I'm really sorry that I made it sound like I only missed you because, look, you're the peacemaker in our group, and you are important to me as a friend, but I missed you more than that. Her optics widened. What? I'm kind of an idiot, which you know, of course. And I didn't realize it until last Orn, actually. This is not real. This is not happening. When I'm talking to you, I'm always happy. And with you gone. There is no way he is really saying this. It was like everything was wrong somehow. Like I was missing a part of minus. Stop. Bree said, venting hard. He stopped. Don't say anything else, Bree said. If you get any cheesier, I'm probably going to wake up. He stared at her. The late bell rang. She turned and ran, leaving him standing in the empty hallway, feeling slightly confused. It was all I could do to keep from laughing. He turned and walked back toward me. I pushed away from the wall when he reached me. He glared. Stop smirking. I flung my hands up in only half-real exasperation, then watched him round the corner before heading to my next class. Before I let you leave, there's something I want to talk to you two about, Master Yakutron said. Okay, Searchlight replied. I nodded. I had the whole drawer to think about it, so I almost knew what I wanted to say. We're nearly halfway through the term, Yakutron said. And you have both done well. You are quick and dedicated learners, and I know how hard you've been working. Thank you. Searchlight spoke for both of us. With that said, I think that by the end of this term, perhaps, even before the end of the term, you would both be ready to enter some of the lower-level competitions against students from other schools. Really? Searchlight said. Master Yakutron nodded. The competition part isn't my favorite, but it does often motivate the students to practice harder. Not yet, of course, but soon. I want you to have that in your processor as a goal. I shifted and Yakutron turned his attention to me. Soundwave? Do we have to compete? I asked. Silence fell. No, Yakutron said. Do you not want to? I shook my helm. I didn't like competitions in the first place, and even though I was good at Circuitsu, I didn't feel like a fighter. But most importantly, it wouldn't be right. If I won, it wouldn't be because of talent or hard work, it would be because I had a secret, unfair advantage. There would be no satisfaction in that. Master Yakutron studied me, thoughtfully. I suppose I'm not altogether surprised. He would do well, but he avoids attention for obvious reasons. Perhaps he would learn to get over that fear if he competed. I don't think it's as bad as he believes. We are all a little different in our own way, his differences are just more noticeable. Not all of them. Healthy competition helps Mecha grow stronger, Master Yakutron said. I would encourage you to compete, but I will not force you to do so. I nodded. I would stick with this one. Searchlight understood, though he thought I shouldn't worry quite so much about using the advantage my abilities gave me. Master Yakutron dismissed us and we headed to my room to get Ravage, and then to Searchlight's room, where Breeze and Ratchet were already waiting. Searchlight was worried that she wouldn't be there, but she was, sitting in my usual spot at his desk, feeling nervous and trying to decide if she should apologize for running off earlier, and worrying that she hurt his feelings or made him think she was rejecting him. The door opened and Searchlight and I walked in. Ravage jumped off of me to land on Ratchet, who tried and failed to jump out of his chair in time. Hey, Searchlight said and sat on his berth, across from Breeze. Hi, she smiled and looked away. Get off. Ratchet said, voice muffled. Ravage clung to him, snickering until Ratchet gave up and went back to his homework, muttering under his breath. So. Searchlight said. Breeze took a deep vent. That was probably kind of confusing out in the hall, and I'm sorry I didn't respond really well. I was a bit overwhelmed. No worries, Searchlight said. Maybe he wasn't trying to say what I thought he was trying to say. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I can't ask him. And we were back to this problem. Awkward silence, Searchlight thought. I need to say something. How was your trip back? I didn't get to ask you about it last Orn. She shrugged, both relieved and frustrated about the change of subject. Not that exciting. I just took a ground bridge. Right, Searchlight said. Praxis is way too far for a mass transit ride, that would take like 3 Orns. Breeze nodded, but then awkward silence descended again. Searchlight looked at me. You're sure she likes me? She's not talking to me. What do I do? Stop being stupid, I suggested. He threw his arms up. What does that even mean? What are you talking about? Ravage said, tail flicking to knock Ratchet's datapad stylus out of his hand. It fell to the floor. Hey. Ratchet growled, then turned in his chair. Anyone want to get that for me? I've got this great big thing that's attached itself to my helm. I'll get it, Ravage jumped off of him. Searchlight, Bree said, crossing her arms and feeling self-conscious. Yeah. What you said, after third drawer, what I stopped you from saying. Hope welled up in her core, powerful enough to push her to actually ask did you mean it the way it sounded. I think so, Searchlight said. I don't know exactly how it sounded to you, though. Yes, I said. Ravage leapt up onto Ratchet's desk and dropped his stylus onto his datapad before hopping up onto my shoulders. What are you all talking about? I'd explain later. Really? Breeze said. Yes, really, Searchlight said. I meant it, Breeze. I know it's all of a sudden, but now that I think about it, I really can't imagine a future without you in it. Oh, for the love of Primus. Ratchet said. I swear, Searchlight, if you get all gushy, I will personally rip your voice box out. Searchlight just grinned. That sounds a little violent for someone who's going into the medical field. Can't fix something that's not broken. Ratchet muttered darkly. I hope I'm never one of your patients, Docbot. Searchlight said, then beckoned to Breeze. You're in Soundwave spot, you know, he said. She got up and crossed the room to sit next to him, feeling kind of dizzy and giddy. I sat in the chair she just vacated and Ravage hopped onto Searchlight's desk and settled down for a nap. I wondered if things would ever go back to normal. They did, sort of. It was a new normal, where I had to deal with both of them being lovesick idiots instead of just Breeze, but after a few warns of Breeze integrating the fact that Searchlight returned her affections, she finally calmed down a little. Ratchet was almost more annoying about it than the two of them were, but after a couple of decarons, he got used to the idea too, and things settled again. Ravage continued to recover. I was starting to think he'd always be a little jumpy, but he was no longer in danger of attacking anyone, thankfully. Breeze kept trying to help me with my stutter too. She had some new ideas about it when she was gone, and she was also still learning a lot in her classes about that sort of thing. I got to the point where I barely stuttered at all, another thing I never thought I'd accomplish. Of course, not everything was working out so nicely. My range was still expanding, slowly, steadily. I had used to think it would drive me insane, but while maybe my sanity was questionable, it was more likely that I'd just get really sick and have to leave school. I wasn't sure how that was going to work, and I didn't want to think about it, so I just pretended everything was fine because right at the moment, it was.